Hello, welcome to BPL's 12th season in Tachyon Cutter Division. This is the final week of the main season, and our final opponent is one hell of a doozy. We are up against JohnPaul, who has an absolutely devastating Rampardos Terra Captain that he has been trying to get the kill leader, which is only currently contested below us in one division with D1 or D3A. And my Mega Diancie, which is sitting at 18 kills. I am going into this matchup understanding full well that he is trying to get as many kills on Rampardos as possible to secure the division's kill leader, or excuse me, the league's kill leader. The league and the division, to be honest. He needs to beat me while making sure that Rampardos gets 5 kills, while Diancie doesn't get more than 1. If Diancie gets 2, Rampardos needs 6 kills in order to achieve the overall kill leader. So he has his work cut out for him. And, yeah, the rest of the team is in and of itself threatening, but I do believe that Rampardos is going to be the primary supported threat for this team. I do believe he will run other offensive options just in case Rampardos goes down, because there is some shot that he still makes playoffs. As I stated before, it is a really close race for the last couple of seeds, and like just playoffs in general. There are multiple people who could still make it. JohnPaul is included, provided certain specific factors go his way and he beats me, and we are fighting for the top seed so that we can potentially promote to the highest divisions of BPL for next season. With that all said and out of the way, let's get into what I think JohnPaul is bringing this week. First and foremost is the Rampardos. I do think that this is possibly the most threatening Rampardos combination that he can bring, with Sheer Force and Terra Fighting, along with Superpower, Earthquake, Rock Slide, and Rock Blast to cover for my Diancie's substitute shenanigans, along with any other shenanigans I use with substitute, because I have been using a lot of that this season. Life Orb is just the most offensive and versatile threat into my team. I do believe max attack will be the play. He has to go at least 160 speed so that he can get ahead of my Weavile with Tailwind, which I do believe he will bring Tornadus Therian to set. This can either be Assault Vest, Heavy Duty Boots, or Eject Button Tornadus. I do believe it will be Terra Steel, but it's fully possible he just says, screw it, I'm not even going to bother with the Terra on this, and goes Terra Flying. U-Turn Tailwind is pretty reasonable. I think Bleakwind Storm is better than Hurricane for all intents and purposes. Air Slash is possible, but I don't see why you wouldn't go with one of the two heavier hitting moves. And then Defog to remove hazards. He'll have enough speed to get ahead of Mega Diancie at bare minimum, and then the rest will probably go into either physical bulk or maybe a little bit of special attack. I think special defense is like slightly worse for his Tornadus than physical defense is. This Rampardos is totally capable of being a Choice Scarf or Choice Banded set. I do believe both are also threatening, but I think Scarf is significantly less threatening due to the extremely decreased damage output. It is also possible that he goes Terra Ground Rampardos and Terra Rock Rampardos, but I think Terra Rock would be ignoring the idea of both Pecharunt and Tinglu. Because both are very viable checks into this Pokemon, especially if it's Terra Rock instead of one of the other two types. But it has to pick and choose which one it wants because of what I'm bringing. I think the third shoe-in mon for this team is going to be a Focus Sash Samurott Hisui. I think max speed is plausible, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. It could just be max HP, max attack, or it could just be fully bulky. There's no real telling what this thing's EV set is going to be, but I am prepping in mind if it has max speed. If it were to have max speed. It'll obviously be running Sharpness with Ceaseless Edge and Flip Turn in order to best enable the shenanigans that are his crazy rock type. But I do believe Ceaseless Edge and Flip Turn are going to be really the only two moves clicked besides Knockoff. Knockoff is plausible to remove my items and such, and then Aqua Cutter is just like a final coverage thing. He could also run Assault Vest, but I think Focus Sash is just significantly better into my team. And then it's there's like a couple other weird items like Choppleberry that he could run, but I think it's Sash or nothing, really. Next on the list, I believe Colberberry Goldango will come. I think Colberberry Goldango is great into Weavile for being trapped by Weavile. I believe that it will probably be running enough speed to creep ahead of my Shaman by a few points, but I'm not sure exactly how much it'll creep me by. I think Shadow Ball and Make It Rain are the two offensive moves it'll bring, but it's possible it runs Thunderbolt. I think Nasty Blot and T-Wave are the combo of support moves it will have in order to support Rampardos and cripple my team. Nasty Plot is just like a potential thing that it could have if he wants to decide, if he decides he wants to win even after Rampardos goes down. But otherwise it could be T-Wave and Recover, right? And I do think it'll have a sizable amount of bulk. It doesn't need to get ahead of everything, just really creep Shaman and whatnot. Clefable is another really good support mon for this. I think Teleport and T-Wave are shoo-ins. It can run Trick... No, it can't. Okay, that's not supposed to be there. I don't know exactly what the final move would be in that case. Moonblast is like... I think I was prepping with Trick Room on this thing in mind, but I guess it doesn't have it. Teleport, T-Wave are the support moves I do expect to see. It could also have Soft Boiled to recover. Or Heal Build to cure status and such, because Moltres Burning is a real threat, and I do have Petulant. But this thing is just really obnoxious. I don't know if it's going to be Magic Guard or Unaware, but Lefties is a reasonable bring into me. It could be max physical defense, max special defense. I really have no way to know exactly what it's going to be running, but I do think these three moves are guaranteed, just because. Moonblast he'll have, but I don't think he'll ever click. Because, like I said, he needs to secure 5 Moonblast, or 5 Rampardos kills in order to make the Division skill later. Finally on the list, the least likely Pokemon I think is going to be brought, but still reasonable compared to the other options on his team, which are Donphan, Rotom Heat, and Alolan Exeggutor, which Alolan Exeggutor and Rotom Heat, this one can run Trick Room, this one can run Teleport, this can run Slow Volt Switch, and it switches into Diancie outside of Rock moves pretty well. And like there's also Donphan, but I don't know why you would bring Donphan into this matchup. It just seems a little weird. It's good enough with an Assault Vest, I guess, but I'm not thinking too much about it. It's like kind of just whatever. If I see it, it's better than seeing like Gallade, right? That's in my head. That's what I'm thinking going into this matchup. And like if I see Donphan, it's better than Rotom Heat. If I see Donphan, it's better than Exeggutor, because I do have good options for Exeggutor this week. Not so much for Rotom Heat, but Rotom Heat's just an annoying piece of shit for my team anyways. Like I said, Gallade probably has Swords Dance, Zen Headbutt, Close Combat. Could be running Leaf Blade or something for the coverage on my water types. Not my water types, plural, just Quaquaval. But I think a Psychic move and a Fighting move works absolutely fine for the combo of both Quaquaval and Petulant. Along with, like, still hitting Diancie for really, really good damage. I think it'll probably be speed tying my Diancie. It really doesn't have to, but it's just the most threatening thing I could think of. It could be max HP or max attack. This thing also has Teleport if he wants to get Teleport and T-Wave and Trick Room if he wants to get Rampardos in like that. But I think he's probably going to have a Trick Room here and there. It's Trick Room or it's Tailwind. I have no idea which. But let's get into what I'm bringing, because I'm going to show you why I don't think it's Trick Room at all. And the answer is pretty simple. It's Ting-Lu. Ting-Lu is our physically defensive, bulky monster check into Rampardos this week, with Rest to keep myself healthy, and Rocky Helmet to wear down Rampardos, especially if it's Life Orb and taking Rocky Helmet chip. I do have no attack investment, just in case I get confused or something. And I'm not running any attacks. Like, it is dangerous to not run attacks in this matchup. But, like, I'm pretty comfortable doing it, since, like, the only thing I need this for, really, is getting massive chip on things and setting rocks and phasing and, like, staying alive for Rampardos. So keeping this healthy is, like, the #1 way to deal with Rampardos, outside of Terra fighting Rampardos, which we have Petulant for. Petulant is here with Malignant Chain and Shadow Ball as its only attacking moves. We are nearly max defense. We have a little bit of speed just so we don't get crept. For the record, Ting-Lu is minus speed, minimum speed, so that it is slower than Rampardos in Trick Room always, along with, like, tying Executor and being slower than Donphan, if that is to come. Right, we were on me. Anyways, Petron also has Recover and Protect, just in case it is a choice-locked Rampardos. I can Protect to scout out what it wants to do, and or potentially PP stall it out in a last-ditch effort situation. But that's not really what's on my mind going into this. That's like one factor of why I'm running Protect. The bigger factor is that Leftovers Recovery is really nice for ensuring the fact that I don't get 2-hit KO guaranteed from any choice banded move that Rampardos wants to throw at me. With the sole exception of Terra Ground Earthquake and Terra Rock Head Smash, which, I mean, if I'm recovering and protecting against a choiced Head Smash, it'll run out of PP real quick if it doesn't run out of HP first. Terra Fairy is just there so that if Gallade is a big threat, it at least is able to stop that better with the psychic moves and the fighting moves and all that than it would be with its original typing. But there really isn't much thought into Petron's Terra type other than that. Our other Terra Captain for the week is Quaquaval, as we have always been bringing. We are running Close Combat, Knockoff, Flip Turn, and Rapid Spin this week. 4 attacks. Rocky Helmet for similar reasons to why we're running Rocky Helmet on Ting Lu, but like less so. It's more for Hammerot. Hammerot is we're switching this into Hammerot basically all the time so that we're always threatening it out with Close Combat. This is why I said it could be Choppel. I don't think it will be. Flip Turn for pivoting, and Rapid Spin to get rid of hazards, because I do foresee hazards going up a lot in this game. With Cecil's Edges. I think it's pretty free. The Rocky Helmet will wear the thing down, but yeah. Knockoff to remove items and to catch specifically a Goldango switch in on my Rapid Spins that he expects me to be throwing out. Because I have been running Rapid Spin Quaquaval a lot. I want some way to punish Goldango on switch in. There's no way it's weakness policy. He wants kills with Rampardos. If anything, it's going to be Colberberry, like I said. I proc it, then Yippee-ki-yay. Knockoff, procking the Colberberry will allow me to Flip Turn into my Weavile. If it does go for a Recover or something, if it goes for a T-Wave, I am Terra Electric to be able to deal with that from both it and Goldango and Clefable, along with Gallade, but not so much. I don't think Gallade will be running T-Wave if it comes. And Terra Electric also allows me to switch into Tornadus Therian much, much better, along with Rotom Heat, right? It works for a variety of reasons. The biggest downside is that we're no longer resisting fighting, or rock, and dark, and then we're still resisting steel from Goldango with Make It Rain, and then flying is now a resist for Tornadus, so it gives me a better Tornadus switch in. Weavile is also coming this week for our final week. I do believe it's better than my other options. I have had it to outspeed Tornadus at max speed, and this also allows it to be ahead of a max speed Choice Scarfed, Rampardos, no matter what. I believe that Pokemon can only barely get ahead of max speed Diancie, so if it does run Scarf, it will probably be max speed. But that's up to me to find out. If I need to figure out what its item is as soon as possible, right? That's the goal here. We have Pursuit to trap the Goldango, Knockoff to remove items, Taunt to stop the Clefable from teleporting or T-Waving, and Icicle Crash for general damage on Tornadus. This is a pretty simple Weavile with Focus Sash. It allows me to just counter the Rampardos if it comes in on Rampardos with full health. And just forces, like, I can also get Pursuit Chip off on Rampardos, which does a significant amount of damage, even if it's Terra Fighting after a superpower, through the resist. But if it's not Terra Fighting, then it does even more damage with Pursuit. Like, Pursuit Trapping is just really, really good in this matchup, whether it be for Tornadus, whether it be for Goldango, or whether it be for Rampardos. So there was no reason not to bring it. And then Knockoff to remove any items is also spectacular. And Icicle Crash is just, like I said, good damage on Tornadus. Finally, we have our Teostra for the week, which is Moltres running a Charty Berry and Reflect. There is a ability to potentially take a max attack Choice Banded Rampardos' Rock Slide through a Terra Rock if I have Reflect up. It is possible, but it is a roll. We don't need the physical defense investment for that reason, and we are outspeeding both what I expect the Goldango to be at 241 and max speed Rampardos at 236. So in a position where it's Moltres versus Rampardos with no Tailwind up, we can tell if it's Scarfed or not. U-turn to pivot off of Tornadus, because we should be slower than it no matter what. Roost to keep our health up, and Flamethrower just for general damage. I did say finally on Moltres, but I forgot to go over what my Diancie set is. We do need 2 kills on this if we want to be Division kill leader. Right now, a Chi-Yu in D1A is the kill leader with 20 kills and 4 deaths. We currently are 18 and 2 on our Diancie, so we just need 2 kills. Even if this thing goes down, it's still 18 and 3. The Rampardos currently has 5 deaths and 15 kills. So, like I said, it needs 5 kills. Or no, it has 16 kills, excuse me. It needs 5 kills to be at 21. And I need 2 kills to be at 20. I just have to get to 20. He has to get to 21. But deaths isn't really important for this. We are just max speed to tie with Gallade in the condition it comes, and it's max speed. Moonblast Earth Power covers most of his team for absolutely phenomenal damage. And then Diamond Storm works out better for if it's specially defensive Rotom, or if it's Assault Vest Tornadus, to be able to just blast that into either of them that I want. And yeah, substitute just to set in front of Tornadus, because we always take Hurricanes in our mini form, and provided it doesn't have any special attack investment. So, that's everything that's important out of the way. Let's get into the match. Let's check out what our opponent has brought for the final week of the main season. And sure as shit, there's the Rampardos. We do see the Donphan over the Gallade, but everything else is mostly as I expected. The Tornadus is not Terra Steel. I figured Terra Steel would be reasonable to bring, but it is in fact Terra Flying, showing me that he absolutely does not care to terrestrialize Tornadus in this matchup. However, the Rampardos is Terra Rock, which is terrible into my team, I feel, because of Tinglu, and like it doesn't really do anything for Pecharunt. So I don't really know what to expect from this Rampardos. It could be Banded, it could be Life Orb, it could be Scarf. I have to find out which as soon as possible. And yeah, I'll just have to deal with this team. I'm thinking he either leads Donphan, Hammerot, or Clefable. And Quaquaval works into all 3. Goldango's another good lead just to deal with Diancie. I think it's more plausible than Clefable. So for that reason, I am going to not lead Tinglu, but I am going to lead Quaquaval. Just to immediately pressure like these two, and to obviously take the item off of Goldango. That is our game plan for the week. We cannot let this team get 5 kills with Rampardos. We want to get 2 kills with Diancie. If we win this, we are the first seed going into playoffs, and will automatically secure a promotion into the highest division, regardless of how we perform in playoffs, which we are already guaranteed for. So, with everything all set and out of the way, let's get into the hunt. So, he leads Donphan. Makes a lot of sense. It's a sturdy mon. It will have the ability to get rocks up pretty freely. Just in case it doesn't want to go for rocks and wants to go for an attack, I'm just going to flip turn out and get in my Pecharunt, because the Pecharunt will take hits from it really well. The combination of flip turn on it and earthquake on me tells me straight away it is max HP, max attack Donphan, which is kind of annoying. It's really hard to deal with, because now I'm forced to recover with Pecharunt. Like, he could expect me to Terra Fairy here. It's possible. But I'm just going to recover and not Terra, because, like, I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know what I'm thinking. I think it's just a good play overall, like, regardless of what comes in. And he is going to stay in with Donphan and click Stealth Rocks, which works for me. Out comes the Hammerot. Now, I expected a Goldango to come in on this, so I was like, okay, Goldango's coming in on this. You don't know what my set is. I'm going to go for a Shadow Ball. And I do 6 to the Hammerot. Which is actually great, because that's a low roll on a max HP, max special defense, plus special defense nature, Assault Vest Hammerot, which tells me a lot about what this thing's going to be running. And tells me a lot about its general information. So I'm like, okay, I'm going into Quaquaval, because rocks are out. And you're probably going for a Ceaseless Edge or a Flip Turn, and either works for me on Quaquaval. It is Ceaseless Edge, hazards go up, Rocky Helmet does a little bit of chip, which is great. I'm going to need it for an Assault Vest set. And now I'm expecting, you obviously think I'm going for Rapid Spin, right? So you're going to bring in Goldango. So guess what I go for? Knock off! Get bodied! Off goes the Shukaberry. And I'm like, okay. This is max HP. I don't know how much defense investment it has. It could have some. It could have none. I don't know. So I am just going to Flip Turn. I'm going to Terra Electric out of here just to Flip Turn and do nonsense. Like, get the Terra Electric off now, right? Perhaps I didn't have to, but I wanted to just for the future. Tornadus and all that. And we bring in Weavile, we pop our Focus Sash immediately. He reveals Recover, which is like, okay, that's fine. I was pretty confident it wouldn't attack or go for, T-Wave or anything, because I figured, okay, you probably need your health back, and you're probably going to be Recover, right? Considering that you're max HP. So I was right in that regard, and I get Weavile in, not for free, but I do get Weavile in. I'm going to go for Pursuit, expecting to switch out, and I am correct. Unfortunately, the roll that I saw in the calc does not work in my favor, and Goldango does live the attack. In comes Hammerot, which works for me. I know that you're never going to kill Weavile, so I'm just going to go straight for Knockoff to remove the AV, or if it's a hard switch, to remove something else's item. He does not kill me like I expected. Once again, Clefable comes in. Now, I probably should have gone for a Taunt here, expecting a T-Wave or a Teleport, because I know for a fact this thing never Moonblasts me. But instead I go for a Knockoff to remove the item, because I felt as though that was more threatening at the moment. And he is going to paralyze my Weavile, so now this is crippled and kind of useless for the most part. I can't switch it out, because if I do, then it's going to die to hazards on re-entry. So I'm going to go for a Taunt now to prevent this thing from slow pivoting into Rampardos. And it does use Teleport, and it is avoiding taking the kill on Weavile like I expected it to. I go for a Knockoff here, because I'm always guaranteed a kill on Goldango or an item on something else, and either is absolutely fine for me. He cannot keep Clefable in here if he really wants those 5 Rampardos kills, so he does switch Clefable out, and down goes the Goldango. Which is great, because with Recover, I really didn't have a great way to kill that thing besides Weavile killing it, so it going down is fantastic for my team. That being said, Rampardos coming in does mean something is going to take massive damage. I am not comfortable going into Ting Lu yet, because even though it is Terra Rock, if it is banded and it chooses to read me and go for a superpower, things could get severely out of hand if things go sour. Because I don't necessarily want Ting Lu taking that much damage through the hazards that are already up. So I am just going to let Weavile go down here. I don't get any information off on this thing, but I'm going to bring in Ting Lu just because I'm like, this is the answer to it always. I perhaps could have switched Ting Lu in there and then saved Weavile for a sack to the hazards later, but it is what it is. I didn't want to take the obscene amount of chip damage. I'm just going to set my own Stealth Rocks up here because I want the chip on anything else that comes in. He's going to go into Donphan, which is kind of annoying for me. I wasn't really sure what to do with this, knowing for a fact that I'm slower than it. So I'm just going to go for a Ruination to like get some chip off on it, and I don't really care because I can rest in front of this thing. And he goes for a Substitute, which I'm like, shit, damn, that's a good Donphan set. That's a really good Donphan set. I don't really know what to do against this. I'm going to go for a Whirlwind because I can't imagine you do anything obscene. Like, what, are you toxic me, right? And if you think that's bad, when I went for a Whirlwind to knock this thing off, you want to know what comes in? It's Rampardos. So, there goes my Rampardos check. I can't switch this out, because there's nothing that this can get a rest off of. And he's not going to let it, because he knows this is the biggest threat to his Ting Lu, or to his Rampardos. So, unfortunately, I have to let Ting Lu go down. I could have read that he goes for a superpower. I knew he wouldn't go for a rock move, but there was no guarantee he didn't have Terra Rock Head Smash. So, very, very unfortunately, Ting is going down. I couldn't bring Moltres in here because rocks are up and I don't have boots. So, now I'm going to bring in Quavel here. This, I don't really have any information on it here. I figure you should switch out almost no matter what, because, like, you are -1 attack, -1 defense. And if I have Aqua Jet, you have no recourse for this. You don't know what my moves are, right? So, I'm going to go for a Rapid Spin, which is probably pretty obvious, but he does not, in fact, go for any type of attack in correlation. He is not taking any chances with what I'm using, and I do get to freely remove the hazards from my side of the field. In exchange, he brings Tornadus in, which reveals itself to be Eject Button, which is pretty interesting tech. I've seen him run it before. And he brings in Donphan, which is really, really weird to me. I'm like, huh, why would you bring in your Donphan? Wouldn't it make more sense to, like, bring in Clefable? And that's when it hits me. This Donphan is Custap Berry with this moveset. Substitute Endeavor, there's no way you're not Custap. So I'm like, okay, I could take the Custap Endeavor. Like, that's not the biggest issue in the world. And then I realized with my speed boost, there's no thing he can do to me besides kill me with an Earthquake that would be threatening. So I'm like, oh shit, I need to switch into Moltres. And it does reveal the Custap Berry. So I'm like, whoo! Good thing I didn't get hit by that, right? I'm going to go for a Reflect. Foolishly. Foolishly. And I take 87% of my health on Moltres. And I'm like, you know, perhaps not the best decision. So I'm just going to Flamethrower it and take the kill. Because I'm like, god damn it, you know. He brings out Tornadus, which is a bizarre decision to me. It doesn't, I mean, it makes sense, right? But I'm like, because he doesn't want to take a kill with Rampardos, like, if it's Scarfed, because I don't know what the set is. This is, like, screaming to me that it's Banded or something, though. Because I know it's not Life Orb. So I'm assuming at this point it is Banded. But I'm aware that it could be Scarfed. He goes into Tornadus. I'm like, that's weird. Are you going to defog? What are you going to do? I know you're not. You're either defogging or you're U-turning. Because there's no way you're attacking into my Moltres here and taking the kill. That should easily be your Rampardos' kill. So I'm going to go for a Roost to get my health back up. And he does go for defog, removing the rocks from his side of the field. Which is a bit unfortunate for me, but not the end of the world. He goes for Hurricane to keep my health down, which kind of sucks for me. And he's defogging to make sure I don't have the Reflect up. So at this point, I'm like, okay, he could Hurricane me again. If he does, I'm going to Roost so that I get back to full HP. I could U-turn here. I'm slower than him. I'm sure I don't die to a Hurricane. I could Reflect, but he could Hurricane. There's a ton of different factors. And unfortunately, he goes for a U-turn. Which means Rampardos comes in for free on my Roost. Which is really suspicious to me because I'm like, huh, that's weird. I could have gone for anything there. Granted, I assume you were thinking it's either Reflect or Roost, right? But, what's this gonna do? You're either Banded and not going to kill me through Charty, which would be the best case scenario. I mean, it's a roll either way, and I'd get Reflect up. Or you're Scarfed, and you will kill me with a Terra Rock Slide, because you're not gonna Head Smash. You can't ever Head Smash here. Because if you get burned, that's just it. Unless you have some nonsense on this. He does reveal that he is Choice Scarfed, and I am going to get eviscerated by the Terra Rock Slide. So now that I have that information, I can freely go into Petrarunt and go for a Malignant Chain, knowing that he doesn't have a good switch in. This is AV, this has no item, and this takes super effective damage. So no matter who gets Malignant Chained here, we're in a good position. And fortunately, I do get the Toxic. Now, I'm going to reveal Protect here as my final move, because why not? I want this thing to hit itself, because if it does, then that means it dies. Unfortunately, it does not hit itself. It goes for a flip turn. And, yeah. I'm just going to take the kill with Petrarch, realizing, oh, hey, it's max HP, max special defense. I have 4 points of speed on this. I'm probably outspeeding this. He brings in Clefable. I'm not entirely sure why. I am assuming it is to T-Wave, but it could be to... I'm thinking it's either the T-Wave or Trick Room, and you're definitely not Trick Rooming, because I might have remembered during the match it doesn't have Trick Room. I don't quite remember, and I thought Trick Room was a bad play. Regardless, I'm like, okay, you're probably T-Waving me, right? I'm going to go for a Protect just to scout. And yeah, it is T-Wave. So I'm like, I can't let that happen. I have to go Quaquaval. He fortunately does stay in and get another T-Wave off. So I'm like, all right, this works perfectly. I'm going to go for a Rapid Spin so he can't hard switch in or teleport in the Rampardos. He is going to go for the teleport here. I'm going to click my Rapid Spin to get a speed boost, like I said. So now Rampardos cannot be faster than me. In comes Tornadus, and this is kind of shitty for me because if he goes for a U-turn here, Rampardos cuts in kind of for free. And I can't really guarantee that he doesn't go for a U-turn here, right? But I'm just going to go for a knockoff in case it's a hard switch. And he goes for Tailwind, which is actually a massive misplay from him. If I had Rapid Spin, I still would have been slower because of, like, speed and all that. But that's great for me because now I'm slower than him, and I get a flip turn. He has to move first. He goes for a Hurricane because, like, that's a pretty reasonable play. Confuse my thing, like, kill it somehow. And I'm going to get Diancie in here because I see you don't have any steel moves. And I know that I take a fine amount of damage from all the calcs with the Hurricanes on Moltres. See, right here, 36%. I'm able to get a read on what the Tornadus's special attack is. And I see that I never get my sub broken as base Diancie. Though I do understand that I am playing around with a Hurricane hit and or Confusion, which I have not been confused once, and we do not get confused. So substitute goes up. We are at no risk of this breaking our sub. The Hurricane miss is unfortunate slightly. It means that Moonblast is not 100% guaranteed to break my substitute, depending on the Clefable's investment, but I also don't know much about the Clefable besides the fact that it's probably max HP. I go for a Diamond Storm because I see that it picks it off, and I don't necessarily want to Terra yet, because there are rolls where the Hurricane can break my sub if I Mega Evolve. So I don't want to do that, I don't want to risk anything, and we're just going to do this. And I did a bunch of calcs here to try to figure out exactly what this Clefable was. I figured it probably had some special defense, probably had some physical defense. I wasn't sure if it was max physical defense, max special defense, or what. But I assumed it was leaning more towards special defense than physical defense. So I'm going to, in fact, Mega Evolve, understanding that the Moonblast is most certainly going to break my substitute. But this just makes it so I'm guaranteed to 2-hit KO it if it's max special defense Clefable. We finish it off, and now the Scarf Rampardos is the last Mon standing. Earthquake is super effective against my entire team. I am fully expecting to see it. And I am sacrificing the duck. Good job, Quaquaval. You kept me in the game single-handedly, basically. Petulant never loses to Earthquake from a Terra Rock Choice Scarfed Rampardos, because we can always protect and recover to stall out all of its PP. Granted, that is not what I'm doing. I'm going for Malignant Chains instead of Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball definitely 2-hit KOs this, whereas Malignant Chain 3-hit KOs this, but I was hoping for the Toxic plus Confusion. Perhaps a misplay in my opinion, but is what it was. This is literally unbreakable for Rampardos, barring a double crit, and I am 100% playing to assure that does not happen. There is no winning this match for JohnPaul at this point, because, like, I am just going to stall out the PP if anything even remotely dangerous happens. I go for another Malignant Chain, which really doesn't matter. In that position, it's better than Shadow Ball, because Shadow Ball doesn't kill there. But, like I said, this game is over. I have secured my victory against the Rampardos. And with that, we have secured Diancie as the kill leader for BPL Season 12. Sitting pretty at a first seed with 7-2 record of plus 23 differential, we have guaranteed that next season, in Season 13, I will be promoting to the top division of BPL, regardless of how I perform in playoffs, which we obviously have made. This is absolutely everything I was hoping for, because on top of the first seed, we also secured Diancie with a 20-2 record as the entire league's kill leader, which is pretty damn fun, because I get the bragging rights of having the kill leader status. So I'm really, really happy about how I've done this season. My team performed super, super well. These are the final stats for my Pokemon across the season. Playoffs results are not counted. I will obviously be uploading the remaining playoffs videos as the weeks pass, while other stuff in my life is going on. But yeah, that's my plan for the upcoming week. Let's start to take a look at what I had to go up against, because my opponent was kind enough to share his pace with me. So, it was in fact a Choice Scarf for Rampardos. It had max attack, basically max speed, just to get ahead of max speed Diancie, with a Jolly Nature. No Rock Blast to break my subs or anything, but Head Smash instead, which I think is slightly bad bring. I think you're supposed to always bring Rock Blast over Head Smash, just because of how much you needed 5 kills. Head Smash would have been too much recoil damage to get 5 kills, especially with Scarf not having high enough damage output. But I don't know. It absolutely could have worked out the way the game played out. Like, I almost lost, you know? Keyberry Clefable was interesting. Moonblast, Teleport, T-Wave, Moonlight. He probably could have kept the Clefable a bit healthier with Moonlights. But I mean, hey, it is what it is. He went for the moves that he thought might win him the game. Like, if he did paralyze my Pecharunt, I absolutely lost. So I really couldn't afford to let that happen. And if I switched in Diancie, like, obviously that's paralyzed too. The only down... Like, he could have just been like, oh, well, obviously anything getting paralyzed is great, and then forgot that Terra Electric Quavel can't be paralyzed. So Thunderwave could have been the best decision in that position, but unfortunately, Quavel, I thankfully brought as Terra Electric, and I'm very, very glad I did. The Goldango was, like I said, T-Wave Recover was the option. It was either going to be T-Wave Nasty Plot or T-Wave Recover. I think it always brings T-Wave in this matchup, considering you want Rampardos to get 5 kills. The Rampardos has ended at 20-6, so we win the kill leader by KD alone. The fact that we had fewer deaths while having the highest amount of kills is what secures us that accomplishment. It was a mixed defense Clefable. There was no way I was going to calc that in heat of the moment. It was unaware. I kind of expected that over Magic Card. The Goldango was actually max special defense, which is interesting. I think that's a great play, considering Diancie. And you don't necessarily want this in against Weavile, but Pursuit's just so good, dude. I think you should have been Colbur if you were max special defense. But, like, Shulka is absolutely still a valid play, because you need Diancie dead. You can't afford to let it get 2 kills, right? Eject button, Torn, like we saw. Max speed, actually. So, thankfully, I had enough speed on Weavile to get ahead of it. I think max speed is absolutely a fine bring. Like, there's no downside to bringing max speed. Like, it absolutely works for some matchups. But I did prep for it in mind, and I was running max speed on the mons that it was relevant for. Hurricane, U-turn, Defog, Tailwind. Like, max HP is correct, too. This did end up working out slightly in my favor. I don't remember if Diamond Storm was a roll or not. I'll obviously have posted that in the calc during the match. If it was or if it wasn't, but... the Donphan absolutely just... it was so much more effective than I thought it was going to be when I was building for this matchup. Like, this set was so good. Like, it was really just so destructive for my team. And I didn't have a good way to deal with it. So massive props for this Donphan bring. Like, this thing absolutely, like... this thing turned, like, what should have been a really great matchup for me into a really bad, like, a really iffy matchup. So mad props for him to this Donphan. Finally, his little Hisuian Samurott, which basically had everything we thought it was going to. except it didn't have a water move. It had Sacred Sword, which kind of makes sense when you consider Weavile. And actually, Empoleon is more so the thing to think about there, I suppose. Though I didn't bring Empoleon, so. But, yeah. JohnPaul, absolutely. I think he played really, really well, all things considered. But we are in playoffs now, and we are first seed, and we are promoting guaranteed, and we are now the kill leader for the division. We basically won all of the accomplishments. Like we won the game, right? We won the thing. Everything worked out. So the next season's logo, this season was based on Iron Crown. Next season will be based on Mega Diancie, thanks to my efforts with the Pokemon. So that's really, really cool. I'm super excited to help design the logo too, because that's another one of the perks that Kill Leader gets across the whole league. But that'll be it for the main season of BPL Season 12. We have guaranteed promoted out of the middle divisions, out of D2A to D1/D1A/D1B. Not sure what I'll be in yet. It'll be several months before the next season. There are currently sign-ups for the off-season. I will post the link to the league in the description. The season's playoffs have finished, so do be warned that if you go into the league, you will see spoilers for who won each division. So just keep that in mind if you do decide to check out the thing. You will be spoiled for the upcoming weeks, what happens as to who wins and who loses. This match was also recorded on BPL's main channel. I obviously did my own take of this because, like, I am involved. But yeah. With all that said, it's getting a little late, 7 p.m., and I will catch you next week for playoffs. Oh, yeah. I didn't mention, did I? Look at, where's the standing? Where's the standings? Look at who made playoffs. You'd think Enfish, because he's at 8th seed, right? But based on the ruling, Chelsea's 6-0 win over Magma puts her in playoffs. So our round 1 opponent for playoffs is Chelsea. So the match we didn't get to play in week 7 is gonna be what we're playing in the round 1 of playoffs, which is actually really cool. I don't have to change too much about my prep. And, yeah. I will see you here next week for that match. I know I've said I'll see you here next week like 4 or 5 times now because I keep rambling. But, this time's for real. Have a good one. Thank you for supporting my content, and, I'll catch you around. See ya.